What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have how England gets it right and America gets it wrong. 6 everyday differences revealed. I'm intrigued to hear this. Don't come at us too hard. Take it easy, please. Before we dive in, don't forget to smash subscribe. Give it a thumbs up if you happen to enjoy it. And let's check this out.
Sometimes the smallest habits create the biggest surprises when you move from one country to another. Many believe day-to-day life in the US and England is largely the same, but that expectation doesn't always hold up. Did you know that some basic routines Americans follow without a second thought simply don't apply in England, and vice versa?
Yeah.
Imagine watching people cross a busy street in London at dusk, or seeing eggs on a supermarket shelf without any refrigeration. The familiar rules can feel turned upside down. This video will break down 6 everyday things you cannot do in the US, but are normal or even expected in England. You'll see scenes that anyone could watch unfold, from a crowded Manchester crosswalk to an ordinary pub in York. Every difference is backed by research, direct testimonials, public forums, and first-hand observation. No scripts designed to gloss over the truth. These are clear, everyday realities as people actually experience them. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe. Number 6. Jaywalking rules. In the United States, crossing the road anywhere other than a marked crosswalk is often illegal. Most Americans know the familiar pattern. When reaching a corner, they wait for the walk signal and double-check before stepping out, even if the street is empty. In many cities like New York and Los Angeles, police issue thousands of citations each year for crossing outside the lines. Fines typically start at $50 but can be considerably higher. Past decades saw the introduction of strict laws and insurance requirements to keep walking routes structured and liability limited. For Americans, this is so well ingrained that even short detours can feel risky. By contrast, England takes a more practical approach. There is no law against crossing the street at any spot the pedestrian judges safe. In city centers near places like Piccadilly Circus, the density of cars makes using a crosswalk wise, but in most neighborhoods, residents cross wherever convenient. For an American, watching people step off the curb mid-block, even in fairly busy traffic, can feel unfamiliar. Residents rarely hesitate and onlookers pay little attention. It's a small detail, but it changes everything. Crossing becomes a matter of personal judgment, not enforced rules. Children are taught to look both ways and use care, rather than to strictly obey signals or painted lines. As a result, the average English town has fewer visible enforcement measures, and social expectations depend more on trust and experience. In the UK, only extremely reckless road crossings attract police attention. Most routine crossings do not. For Americans used to firm systems with visible order, this difference can be immediately noticeable. Number 5. Vacation.
The thing I'll say is, I feel like the jaywalking rule is absolutely ridiculous. I'll say I understand the U.S. was made for cars. I mean, it's built for cars, bro. You literally can. There's not too many places you can just like walk. I understand that, and I'm sure there probably was too many people suing or something, and the liability would lie on the car drivers, and so they just said, "Freak it, you can only cross here." But I think, as an adult, you should be able to figure out where you can cross the street at. Like, I jaywalk all the time. Hopefully they don't come for me for this, but I do it. Because I can look both ways and obviously see, can I make it across the street before that car gets here? If the answer is yes, then I'm going to go. I'm not gonna wait for a sign. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But they probably do it for children as well, because children can't judge like I can as an adult. Not just saying there's nothing special about me, but anyways, UK, I do think you guys got it right on that. Jaywalking rule sucks. Next.
The average American full-time employee receives just 10 paid vacation days per year, and it's unusual to take more than one consecutive week off. The unwritten rule is that work should always be first priority. Many companies expect employees to stay available during paid leave, sometimes requiring staff to check email or answer calls from abroad. The pressure for constant visibility is clear, and leaving work for even 2 weeks straight can spark frustration or suspicion. Before smartphones, Americans could more easily disconnect, but today, time off is increasingly interrupted. In England, paid time off is far more generous by law. Most workers get at least 28 paid days each year, regardless of rank or seniority. Taking 2 weeks at once is unremarkable, particularly if visiting family or traveling abroad. A Tuesday afternoon in a small Kent cafe is just as likely to be filled with people enjoying genuine time off, not scanning work messages. Employers in England often encourage longer breaks for well-being and productivity,
Thank
and
you.
colleagues expect out-of-office messages that mean the person is truly unavailable. After decades of rising work intensity in the US, many Americans are surprised by how normal extended holidays remain in England. For
Yeah.
older viewers, it may recall summer vacations or family trips of earlier decades before technology shortened boundaries between office and home. The contrast stands out. In England, stepping away does not spark guilt or anxiety about work. The value of complete time off endures. Number 4, school
Yeah, I
selection.
feel like it's just the U.S. is just this big money hungry machine. I hate say it, I hate talking about the U.S. in this way because I do love it here, but it is just a big money hungry machine that just has to constantly be running. And so you need the manpower to constantly be running. And so people have to constantly work. And so you're not getting those kind of vacations. But again, I think the UK has it right. If you, people will work hard if they're more recharged, right? If I don't sleep through the night and try to work out in the morning, it's going to be a lot worse than had I slept the night before. So it's like if somebody's working out 7 days a week every single day, let's say I work out 4 days a week because I understand the body needs to rest. Those muscles that you're working, they need to rest and recover. You can't push them to the limit every single day. And that's what happens in the US. In the UK, they're not. They get those 28 days, so they're able to rest, recover, have a good time, come back fully charged, ready to work hard. We don't here. We burn out, and then that leads to lackluster work, and it just gets bad.
In most parts of the U.S., a child is automatically assigned to the local public school tied to their home address. District boundaries and property taxes reinforce this link, and moving is often the only way to access another public
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
Private options exist but can cost $1,000 a year or more, making them inaccessible for most
Right.
families. This tradition dates back many decades and shapes community patterns. In post-war suburbs, living in a good district was a common aspiration. England offers a different system. Schools are organized by local authorities such as Kent or Surrey, but within these areas, families can apply to multiple schools, typically listing several preferences. Some schools fill up and carry waiting lists, but even when first choices are unavailable, local councils must ensure every child gets a place somewhere. On a weekday morning in a commuter town, you'll see children wearing different uniforms and heading in various directions, a clear sign of choice. Men and women may drive or walk their children to a selected school rather than relying solely on fixed bus routes. For Americans, where bright yellow buses collect children according to predetermined maps, this level of flexibility can seem surprising. The result is a system where options exist for most
I
families,
love
not
that.
just those who can afford to move or pay tuition. Housing
Yeah.
decisions are less likely to be dominated by school quality alone. Number 3,
I
healthcare
feel
choice.
like, and I really love that because, in a sense, if my child's going to get a better education, I would be willing to commute an hour to take him to school and pick him up if I feel like they're going to like get a much better education than if I took him 5 minutes down the road. But like you said, here in the U.S., he's required to go to that school 5 minutes down the road, even though an hour away there's a better education for him. There's a better learning environment for him, and that's frustrating. I feel like as a parent, I think with the UK system, I do think it's better. I just think, I guess the one thing that when he was talking that I thought of was so these schools that I'm sure most parents in certain areas want to send their kids to a certain school, and they're going to have more people try to sign up than normal. So is it just a first come first serve basis for these schools? Like the earlier you get your child registered, is it like I need this kid need to come up through kindergarten through or dang, I forgot what y'all call kindergarten. But does the kid need to come up through this and stay in this certain school? I don't know how it works in the UK. So can y'all educate me in the comment section, please? See what we got next.
In the U.S., accessing medical care nearly always requires payment at the point of service,
Mhm.
even when insured. Typical doctor visits involve presenting a credit card and sometimes facing co-pays,
Yep.
deductibles, and unpredictable bills weeks or months later. An
Yep.
urgent care appointment often costs $100 or more upfront, not including labs or follow-ups.
Crazy.
Many Americans delay or skip care because of financial risk,
Yeah.
especially for non-emergencies. Meanwhile, England's National Health Service, NHS, provides GP appointments, hospital treatment, and most prescriptions with no direct charge to the patient. Upon arrival at a clinic near Birmingham or Manchester, you check in without showing proof of insurance or paying before being seen. The true cost is covered by taxes, with average per capita spending at about $3,000, $3,600 per year. Some people use private insurance for quicker access or specialized services,
There you
but
go.
the majority rely on the publicly funded system. There are known drawbacks, including longer waits for non-urgent care,
I
and
get that.
certain experimental treatments may be unavailable. Still, the key impact is on daily decision-making. Families rarely hesitate to seek care for straightforward problems like the flu or earaches, since cost is not a barrier.
Exactly.
Compared to the US, the experience feels less stressful, with people visiting clinics for ordinary issues without fear of bills or collections. For Americans, the lack of administrative hurdles and upfront payments is
Mhm.
often a defining first impression. Number two, drinking age.
And I've always thought that. And if they said that here, people socialism, that's socialism. But I just feel like, man, I wouldn't mind waiting a longer time knowing that everybody has health care, right? Everybody has access to health care. That to me is worth waiting a longer time because there's people out there who, yeah, they may wait a longer time, but had it not been from taxes, then they'd be like over here in the US where these people would never get seen at all. So would you rather wait a longer time or never get seen at all? Because there's millions of Americans that don't have access to healthcare because they just can't afford it. And if I'm paying for insurance, why do I also have to pay these high premiums, these ridiculous deductibles, all of this? Because if I don't use the insurance, are you going to give me money back? Are you going to give me my money for the year back? Do I get 50% of it back? But when I use it, now I got to pay more. It doesn't make sense. I go on about healthcare all freaking day. That's a terrible, terrible. I just hope that gets fixed. I hope somehow we come up with a system, kind of like the UK. I don't know how much taxes it'll cost, but just for everybody to have that access to healthcare, I think is incredibly important. It's a right, not a privilege.
Americans gain many adult privileges at 18, such as voting or military service, but must wait until 21 to legally buy or consume alcohol.
Crazy.
This nationwide standard came from the 1984 National Minimum Drinking Age Act, which tied state road funding to a legal age of 21. Ordering a beer while underage is a federal crime in most circumstances, and enforcement is strict in restaurants and bars. The policy is justified by concerns for safety, but runs counter to other coming-of-age milestones. In
Mhm.
England, the legal age to buy alcohol is 18. At this age, adults can order beer, wine, or spirits in shops and venues, and be served in regulated pubs. In many
Yeah.
family-friendly pubs, even younger teens may have a small serving with a meal, provided a parent is present. The expectation is that legal adulthood includes trust in making responsible choices around alcohol.
Thank
In a York
you.
pub on a Friday evening, it's common to see young adults and older patrons in the same room, with drinking generally treated as a social, not sensational, activity. American visitors frequently notice the contradiction. An 18-year-old can legally join the military or buy a firearm,
Yeah.
but not a glass of wine,
It's
while the
crazy.
opposite is true in England. This double standard forces a shift in how adulthood and responsibility are recognized. Number one, egg
Yeah.
storage.
And this it doesn't bother me a ton. But it's annoying that you would think these 18-year-olds are graduating high school and you're telling them to go to college or you're telling them to figure out something that they want to do for the rest of their lives. You think they have the capability of making a decision to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life, but you don't have the capability of being responsible around alcohol. I have the capability of signing up for the military, right? But you don't think I'm capable enough to be responsible with alcohol. You think I'm responsible enough to own a firearm at 18, but you don't don't think I'm responsible enough with alcohol. It is an absolute contradiction. It makes no sense at all. I know there was a statistic about like drinking and driving teens like way back when, but to me it just doesn't make sense to give all of this responsibility in other areas to say you are responsible enough to make this decision, but then to say get here and say no, we're gonna hold that. I don't get it. Y'all talk to me in the comment section. Tell me what you think.
In U.S. grocery stores, eggs are kept chilled at all times,
Mhm.
normally near milk and cheese. Laws require that eggs be washed before sale to reduce salmonella, but this removes the natural cuticle or protective coating, making refrigeration mandatory. Most Americans, having grown up with this process, consider eggs kept at room temperature unsafe, and U.S. health agencies enforce this standard tightly. In England, egg washing is not standard, and the natural protective layer remains intact. As a result, eggs are stacked on shelves without refrigeration, often next to flour or pasta, and sold at the same temperature as the store itself. Shoppers rarely question this, and it's routine to see eggs kept on countertops in homes. The scientific basis is simple. An unwashed egg is less prone to bacteria and stays fresh for weeks outside of the fridge. For Americans, the image of unrefrigerated eggs in shops or kitchens can be almost unsettling, as long-held food safety rules are challenged by another country's everyday practice. Food regulations do not always align, and the habits Americans trust for health and safety are not universal around the world. This realization often comes as a surprise and can linger long after the first visit. These differences are not always obvious. Some show up right away, while others reshape daily life over time. The question is not just what the rules are, but why each system developed the way it did, and how those old decisions still shape what people do. Sometimes, structures designed to bring comfort in one country create confusion in another. Americans expect firm systems and uniform order, while England tends to leave more room for local judgment and common sense. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.
Yeah, with the eggs, it doesn't bother me too much in the sense just two different countries doing it different ways. I've never gotten sick eating eggs. I know that there's more sickness cases of being sick in the U.S. from eggs than there are in the U.K. from eggs. So take from that what you will. I've never personally got sick from eggs, and nobody that I know has ever gotten sick from eggs. So that one, it's not that big of a deal for me. But I figure those who have and those who have gotten loved ones that have gotten sick, it's a pretty big deal. That's all we got. Let me know what you guys think about these differences. If you enjoyed, and then do you think there are any differences? Maybe the U.S. does better than the U.K. in daily life. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, check out the next. I'll